Hey everybody, welcome to Kimmel's Irish Pub. Time for another movie review kind of section. So I got Dominic with me again. So you know what that means? That means we're gonna talk about some movies. And we've actually picked the top 5 movies that we saw so far this year. First half of 2024, January to June. I think January to June, January to today, it doesn't matter. What we've seen up until this point, we've ranked our top 5. And then in addition to this, it will be in another video the bottom 5 as well. So a lot of good movies out there this year. So we're excited to get through it. Dominic, anything you want to add before we jump in?
I know I told you this in private, but I'll tell you it in public. I really appreciate these opportunities to do this with you. It's kind of brightens up my day. I really, we work well together, it seems, and it's a good one. I really enjoy it, and I think we'll do okay here.
Awesome. Great. Yeah. So that reminds me, if you guys like this kind of content, just put it in the comments. Maybe we'll do a podcast or do it more often if you guys enjoy this. So, all right. So let's jump in. We'll go through our top 5. I'll go first with my number 5 pick of the top 5 picks, which is going to be, I think, and there's not that many movies in 2024, right? And when I went through my list, real quick, let me back up and say, previously, Letterbox is what I used last time. I had to transfer everything over to Letterbox because it allows you to sort and stuff like that. Because I do everything in IMDb. IMDb now has the functionality that I was looking for. I was able to say 2024 rank worst to or best to worst and worst to best. So what did happen to me? I had a spoiler alert. The 5 through 2 were all rated as a 7 for me, and actually there was more. And then number 1 was the only 8 so far this year. So it's a little bit of spoiler. So I had to go through my 7s and then really personally decide what do I think out of all these 7s, what makes the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So with all that said, number 5 is going to be maybe I think a shocker. And those of you who've seen some of my reviews, you might already know this one. And for horror fans, or scary or drama, whatever, Lowlifes is my number 5. And it's funny because I've been talking to my father-in-law a lot, sharing movies that I like with him, and he had a hard time finding it. There's evidently multiple movies, Low Lives, anything like that. This is a story I just watched, and it's a Tubi original. That's the big thing, right? It's on Tubi. It's original. If you have Tubi, which is free, just got to watch some commercials. But it's a movie about a family who is traveling cross country or traveling away from California and taking a summer trip. They have not young kids. They have kids who are high school, college, and stuff like that. And then they run into some locals that create some sort of a problem with it. And it's just not what I expected. Nobody I know in it. And it was just a lot of unexpected turns and twists that I enjoyed all the way right till the end. So I think I liked it more because I wasn't expecting it. So that's number 5 for my list. Lowlifes. I don't know if you saw that one. Did you?
I saw that one. I did. And I think that you might have implied this during your review. I mean, Tubi Originals are known for not being so great. And that was kind of the exception to the rule. I mean, that was a real solid horror, kind of thriller, kind of even borderline science fiction movie. And you didn't really know what to expect, but I've seen other critics kind of laud it. So I went on and I saw Lowlifes about a month and a half ago, and I wouldn't go as far as a decent Twilight Zone episode, but not too far off from that.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely see it. If you're a horror fan, if you're just a movie fan, and it's free, like you said, who could beat free? Give it a try. I give that my thumbs up for sure. I like that one too. Good pick.
Cool. All right. What do you have as your number 5?
My number 5, a quick story. I mean, it was one, late night, and I said, I'm just gonna jump up to the movies, and I had a little voucher, so it was only cost me $5. And I saw this movie and I was pleasantly surprised. The Beekeeper, starring Jason Statham and directed by David Ayer. The Beekeeper. I mean, everyone likes Jason Statham, and it was so corny. It was so campy. Beekeeper, and he's kicking butt and he's taking names. And I like the concept of it. I mean, it's a
It was up on me
slight
there.
minor spoiler, but it was in the trailer. Old Jason Statham, and he came back to kick butt. And there was so many B puns and so many stupid jokes, and it was so over the top that I just really liked it. I'm not even an action type of guy, but The Beekeeper, I gotta catch it again. I know it's on one of the streaming services. I haven't seen it since I saw it in the cinema like 6 months ago. So I got a kick out of Beekeeper. Jason Statham, number five.
Yeah. Okay. I like the moral, the plot line. I mean, going after the people who, rob, the unknowing, the elderly and stuff like that. You gotta love that aspect of it. For me, the beekeeper, they had all these other, like the beekeeper, the baker.
I
What
know.
was they had so many of those. What was the other one? Oh, the bricklayer was the
The
other one.
Bricklayer.
They all released at the same time. It's like, oh, we can't do the beekeeper because it's taken, so we'll be the baker. You know what I mean? And it was just like, I was like, it's all the same movie where somebody is, tough or has martial arts or ex-military, and I got to save somebody, So,
Yeah.
but everybody loves Jason Statham, so and I love the moral of the story. Great. All right, I'll jump over to number four for me. And it again, these four, three, two, and five are all sevens for me. I had to pick, and they had to make the cut. This one was Arthur the King. So Mark Wahlberg in it. And where they're doing like the Amazing Race kind of thing. He is they travel across, I don't know, the Amazon, I forget where it was, but they do this big thing. He's got to be sponsored, and this dog just latches onto him when he gets over to where he needs to, and really, it feels like, I don't know if it was like a Disney type movie, but wholesome like that. But it just stood out to me as like a fun movie. A lot of people could watch. Mark Wahlberg, I'll enjoy him anytime. And then they bring this dog in that happens to, I don't want to spoil it, but happens to save the day kind of thing. So really enjoyed that. Had to move that into my top five.
All right. Yeah, I didn't see that one, but I think that it's going to come to. I'm not going to, pay to buy it now, but I think it's coming to Stars shortly, or might be on Stars now. I'm not sure. It came to Stars recently. I should really give that a see. I mean, I like Mark Wahlberg, and who doesn't like? It seems like it's a feel-good movie sort of thing. Can't go wrong with that. So I'm going to give that a try when I get a chance. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. All right.
Sure. I could go ahead and do my number four. I think I might be the only person that's a fan of this movie on the planet because it was kind of critically panned. It really didn't do that well. It was on Netflix. I must have watched it like 3 or 4 times. I just liked the story. It was called Miller's Girl, starring Jenna Ortega and Martin Freeman. It was basically about a teacher in a high school, and Jenna Ortega was his student, and he wanted, I mean, I'm not going to tell. I mean, basically, she wanted to, like, make the moves on him, and he was like a 45-year-old guy, and she was like an 18-year-old girl, something like that. So he was the English teacher, and she was looking to get a scholarship, but going to the best college possible, and it became like a little bit of a scandal. I don't want to spoil it, but just, I mean, I'm kind of in love with Jenna Ortega. I mean, I'm a single guy who could really blame me. I don't think anybody could. And I just like that scandalous type of thing, like going to something like that. It's like fantasy, and I don't know. The way it ended was a little bit abrupt, but I just like the whole concept. I just loved it. I must have seen it 3 or 4 times. Miller's Girl, Jenna Ortega and Martin Friedman. He was in the Lord of the Rings type of movies when he was a much younger man. The director was Jade Burlett. Kind of like a guilty pleasure movie for someone like me. I mean, it was stupid, but I liked it. I just really liked it. Miller's Girl, Jenna Ortega.
Yep. No, that was good. I'm a fan of Jenna Ortega as well. Probably didn't like it as much as you, but I do like the actor. I like her. I like him. Interesting concept. So I think it was definitely worth a watch. You're gonna probably watch it no matter what, right? So
Sure.
yeah, that was a good one. All right. So as we talk here, I actually made a switch. This is moving up. I moved two and three. Again, they're all sevens for me. And I'm going to move this into my third spot. Again, probably a lesser known movie than, everything else. But the movie is called Land of Bad. And so, yeah, I'm in the right spot. Hold on. Land of Bad, right? And so Land of Bad had Chris Hemsworth in it. It also had Luke Hemsworth and Russell Crowe. So they're like Air Force or U.S. Army Special Forces, that that kind of military thing that's sent over to help assist capturing somebody or do something like that. And for some reason, it just clicked for me. I mean, there's so many of those types of movies out there, but it's got the Hemsworth brothers in it. It's got Russell Crowe in it. And it's just like how they survive. They go into, they're the kind of people who go in without anybody else knowing. very, a very quiet operation. And so they're kind of left on their own. Like they either make it work and they make it home, or they don't make it work. And, it was a lot of action, a lot of fun. And I thought it was pretty neat, like even down to the ending, what they wanted to do, they were there for a purpose and they stuck with that the whole way, showing integrity and where they could run for their own lives. And so I just found it a lot of fun. It was ranked in the top 7, almost made number 2 for me, but just switched it at the end. But a lot of fun, good actors, and a lot of action.
I've never heard, I'll be honest with you, Jeff, I never heard of that, but the cast sounds very good, so maybe I'll give it a try.
Yeah, absolutely. If you like action films, that might hit.
Sure. Thank you, Jeff. So I'll go ahead and give my number 3 now. I actually, about 2 months ago, I wanted to see this in the movie theater, but I never got a chance. It wasn't in the movie theater for very long. So about a month and a half, 2 months ago, actually, I know that you do this all the time, but I'm probably a little more stingy than you. I don't really like to rent a movie to pay for them, but this one I made the exception, and I paid $5 or $6. It was worth every penny. I watched it twice in the 24 hours that they gave it to you. I loved it so much. It was called Founders Day, starring Naomi Grace, Devin Dupid, and William Russ, who was the father from Boy Meets World, and the director was Eric Bloomquist. It was basically a political horror movie, though it wasn't really that scary. It was more in the vein of like Scream or Thanksgiving, but I liked it better than both of those. Maybe not the original Scream, but I liked it better than Thanksgiving. There was basically a killer running around that was, murdering people in his town, but there was a political backdrop, like what would you do to become the mayor? And William Russ was a teacher, and he knew a lot of the people in it. And there were a lot of younger actors in it that weren't really that well known, but I just really got a kick out of it. I liked the killer. I liked him running around, the political theme, and I forgot what his weapon of choice was, but he killed people in creative ways. And I just really loved it. I'll give you a spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. It kind of ended with William Ross, who was like the mastermind behind all of it, and he became the mayor. And the last 5 minutes is basically William Ross like kind of dancing around the town and walking around and commenting to people that he's the mayor and Mr. Mayor and stuff like that. I just liked it. It hit bullseye for me. It didn't get such good reviews, but personally I liked it. Founders Day. I found a good one in Founders Day.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
I just added it. While you were talking, I was like, I don't think I've seen that one. I don't remember it, so I just added it to my list. So that'll be on the list. I'll have to do a review of it. Sounds good.
Don't feel too bad. I don't think anybody remembers it except for me. I feel like I'm the only fan, but I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I haven't seen it, so it's on my list now. We'll have to watch it. All right. What the movie that moved to number 2 just leapfrogged in the last 3 minutes of our review here, jumped from 3 to 2, jumped over Land of the Bad, was Dune Part 2. So it's funny, like I have a friend that I grew up with a long time ago, big into the Dune, reading the books, all that stuff. I never read the books of more Star Wars, whatever, never saw the original Dune, not the original Dune. Dune 1, I've seen. And in fact, I say this a lot in my movie reviews with sequels, they make them so far apart that I always forget what happens in the first one. So in preparation for this one, I actually did the night before watch Dune 1 and then for a second time and then watch Dune 2. And that might be part of the reason I enjoyed it so much, having that continuity between the two, because I think a lot of times, again, with the gap, you forget what's happening. But I really did enjoy that movie. I like Timothy Chalamet, and I thought James Brolin, everybody liked that, Austin Butler. A lot of cool people in this movie, Zendaya, of course. A lot of cool stuff, and in a way that it's just like kind of ends. It's just like, hey, I got a higher purpose. Whatever. I don't know what happens at the end. Spoiler alert, I guess. But you know what I mean? Like, and so I just and the way the cinematography, I guess they call it, the scenery and stuff. It's all like different than what we're used to. So, yeah, I threw it up as number 2. I thought that one was one of the 7s that I should include in my top 5.
I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I just never got into the Dune movies. I mean, sometimes something just goes passes you by and you just don't get into it for no particular reason. Honestly, probably it's because they're really long and stuff like that. I just couldn't get into it. But I know that most people are into it, so I'm sure that the sequel is just good as the original. And like you said, it's a cast of very talented people, very talented actors.
Mm-hmm.
I like that Timothy. He was good in Willy Wonka. He was good in the Wonka movie, and he's like a rising star, young guy. He's like a rising star and such. And then
Yeah,
I mean, they're all good. Yeah, can understand.
awesome.
Yeah. So I believe it's my turn to do number two. Now, this movie was only in the movie theaters for like a hot minute. It didn't seem like too many people saw it. As a matter of fact, when I saw it, I was the only person in the cinema. I guess I could quickly mention, not that it matters, but I have the movie pass. I'm able to just see basically, I'm able to jump into movies whenever I want. That's why I'm going to so many movies. But the name of the movie was called Daddy-O, Daddy-O, starring Dakota Fanning and oh, excuse me, Dakota Johnson, not Dakota Fanning, and Sean Penn. The director was Chrissy Hall. It was basically a two-actor show. Dakota Fanning got home off of a trip from John F. Kennedy Airport. That's where I'm from, and I've done that a million times. And she went into the yellow cab of Sean Penn, and it was basically a discussion throughout. It was basically just the two of them having a discussion the entire time, and a lot of it was based on the love life of Dakota Johnson. I mean, I don't really want to spoil it, but I guess it was in the trailer. She was, seeing a married man, and it was like, well, the psychology of why she was doing that. Daddy-O, did she have daddy issues? Did this stem from her childhood? And Sean Penn had been driving a cab for like 30 years, so he's able to psychoanalyze people very well. And it just, I don't know, there was just something very special about the movie, and not too many people saw it. Hopefully it comes to streaming soon. Probably it will. I think I saw it the other day for pay for streaming or whatever. Daddy-O. Definitely, there's something to it. I want to see it again because I think if you see it again, you'd understand a little bit more, like little character things that people say. Sometimes the way that they move, it would make a little bit more sense. I'm gonna catch it again when it comes out streaming.
Yeah.
Daddy-O.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of it. I knew the two actors in it. I think I also knew it was like a two-actor movie or something like that. Very limited actors in it. So yeah, I know I have that one on my list. Haven't seen it, but definitely gonna check it out now.
Sure.
All right. So now I'm on number one here. Again, I think this one's probably off of a lot of people's lists. But it's I don't know if it's considered faith-based, but it feels that. It's got the incredible story that grips you and makes you emotionally tied, to the plot line, to the characters, to everybody involved. And I love the cast. I mean, so Hilary Swank is in it, right? Haven't seen her in a long time. There she is. She's in this. She does a great job. And Alan Ritchson, which is the Reacher. If you ever see the Reacher, he was also Aquaman in Smallville. The big guy. He's in it. He plays the father. And the movie's called Ordinary Angels, and it is phenomenal. That was my number one rated movie in 2024. Had an 8. Everything else had a 7, and it's based on a true story. She's a hairdresser and just really needs to help save a life of a daughter, right? So she doesn't have a lot of money. The daughter's terminally ill, not terminal, but she's very ill, could
But yeah.
potentially die. And there's just as you can imagine, there's all these odds that stack up. From one thing to the next thing, and then you overcome one thing, and then something else hits you right there, right then and there. And I mean, the ending is phenomenal. I mean, it has you, just bought into every character and everything that's going on. And I love movies that are based on a true story, and some that really, again, tie your emotions into everything. So that was it. That's the number one movie for me so far in 2024, Ordinary Angels.
I actually saw Ordinary Angels. I did like it. I mean, just skip the end of the story. I did like it. I think that you probably liked it a lot more than me, but I did like it. And I don't mean what I'm about to say in a derogatory way. It was like a faith-based, like sometimes they do faith-based movies on Lifetime. It was like a Lifetime faith-based type of movie, but insert good actors into it. I mean, it's insert good actors into it. I thought it was a little slow moving towards the end. I thought they could have maybe cut 10 minutes off. But I thought that the acting was good. I particularly liked, the big Brolic, whatever his name is, Alan, the actor. He usually plays a tough guy. I mean, he looks tough, but he played more of a mellow guy or kind of a slightly depressed guy in that movie, going through hardships. So a little bit of a different character for him. And Hilary Swank is always vivacious as she was in the movie. And there was another portion of the movie that I liked. They went into like, why is Hilary Swank doing this? Is it really totally selfless? Is it a little bit not really selfish, but is it somewhat, in a matter of speaking, a little bit selfish to make up for her own past in a way? And it was faith-based, but they didn't lean way too much into the faith-based thing. It was like kind of faith-based. So
Right.
bottom line is, it was worth to see. Watch it on streaming. I think it's on Stars. Watch it on streaming if you want to, if you could, if you would.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. What do you have for number one?
So good one. Late Night with the Devil. Late
Oh,
Night with the Devil. I know that you reviewed this starring David D. I'm not even going to pretend to pronounce his last name, and Laura Gordon. The directors are uh Colin Cannies and Cameron Cannies. I mean, I actually first saw this in the movie theater because of the Movie Pass, and it was very interesting. I mean, I think everyone knows the plot by now. It was like a talk show in the 1970s. He was, going against the other talk show hosts in the movie, and he may or may not have made some sort of a pact with the devil. Well, like you said in your review, he was doing shady deals with the cult that he was in. I don't remember the name of the cult, the Grove, and such. And like we said, this David guy is just a really good actor. I mean, he's an up and comer. He's not really an up and comer. He's been doing it for a long time, but it's nice that he got a role that was totally for him, and he did a great job. And the way it was filmed, it was filmed, and there was a lot to unpack. I mean, people have made like 2-hour essay videos about this movie and what it meant and what it is and the ending, and the wife passed away. Was the wife of them? I must have seen the movie on streaming like 3 or 4 times. Just throw it on in the background. But if you're a horror fan, if you're a movie fan, Late Night with the Devil, I'd give it a thumbs up. That's probably my number one. And ironically, when I first saw the movie, I didn't really like it. When I saw it in the theater, I'm like, what the heck is this? It ended abruptly. I don't really get it. Then I thought about it. Then I watched it. The guy who was in the skeleton, who was he? The mentalist in the movie. There was a lot to unpack on that one. Late Night with the Devil.
that's a good one. No, it was. I was just, as you were talking, I was scrolling through my list. I don't even know why that's not on my list. I hope I rated it. Maybe I didn't. Sometimes I watch these movies, I forget to rate it, but I did enjoy that one. I love the concept. I love the grittiness of the video, taking you back like you're really there in the 1970s. And, that it's just so cool. Like it was like almost real in a sense. You know what I mean? Like you're actually turning on a late night TV show in a sense. And I agree. Like I thought he was perfectly cast in his role, and I thought that was great. So and then the other thing of like, I don't know, like the what is it, the owl
The
grove,
Owl.
the owl grove, evidently like there's a conspiracy theory that all the leading people, people who are well above us that control the world, that's where they go and meet and stuff like that. And they brought that in, like somebody allowed that on the camera. So that was pretty neat that they did all that. So yeah, great movie. Good call out.
Sure. Thank you.
Awesome. So there we go. There's our top 10 from top 5 from me and top 5 from Dominic. For our movies for 2024. So hopefully I'd love to hear your comments. What everybody else think? Do we miss any? We had 10 different films. So that's cool. So did we miss any? What were your top 5? Drop them in the comments. And again, if you like this kind of stuff, let us know. Thumbs up. Like to put a comment in. We'll continue to do it. So but that's it. And we're gonna come back and we're gonna do it the bottom 5 right soon. So check out the next video after this if you want to see what our bottom 5 is. So Dominic, anything to say to the people?
No, I think that we came up with a pretty good list between two of us. Two different people, two different tastes. None were the same, but I saw some of yours, you saw some of mine. I think we did okay here.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And again, don't forget to tune in to the next one, the bottom 5 of 2024. All right. Thanks everybody.